What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the YouTube channel, or welcome if it's your first time. My name is Coach Carly. I am the facility leader at our location in Chelsea, Alabama. And today I'm super excited to talk to you guys about rate of perceived exertion, or RPE, as I'm going to call it. This is just a tool to help you get the most out of your time in the gym. So we're going to talk about what it is, why it's useful, why it is beneficial compared to other methods of training, and then examples for how you can utilize it in your own training. So if you have been in the strength training world for any amount of time, you may have heard of this term, rate of perceived exertion. If you've been training with steel strength training for any amount of time, you have definitely heard this phrase before. So rate of perceived exertion is basically just a tool that is going to help you lift with intention and with precision. It's going to help you lift harder, but also smarter, so that you are, again, getting the most out of your time in the gym and out of your lifts, and you're actually seeing results. So if you are new to strength training, deciding what weight to use for maximum results can actually just be one more obstacle preventing you from adhering to a successful workout plan. You might be asking yourself, do you add weight? Do you stick to the assigned weight? Do you go up from last week? Do you go down from last week? Do you just go until you're gasping for breath? What do you do? How do you decide what weight to use? What's going to be beneficial for you? So this is a method, RPE, that is actually going to produce results. It's going to help you lift with intention, precision, and even flexibility, which is super important for recovery and to prevent burnout. So this method is going to take how hard something feels and turn it into a measurable and adjustable guide that you can use every time you train. So first, what is RPE? It is basically a scale from 1 to 10 that's going to help you rate how difficult a set feels. It helps you know how close you are to your physical limit or how close you are to reaching failure. So failure can look two different ways. Failure can be true failure, which means you physically cannot perform one more rep, or it can be form failure. You cannot perform another rep with good form. All right, so keep that in mind as we talk about the word failure. So here's an example of what this scale might look like. RPE of 10. This is your maximal effort. Even if you wanted to, you physically could not perform one more rep. You have nothing left to give. You have 0 reps left in the tank. That is an RPE of 10. All right, next we have an RPE of 9. So at an RPE of 9, you are very, very close to your maximal effort. You could have squeezed out one more rep, but no more. That is it. You could have squeezed out one more, and then you are done. Next, RPE of 8. So for RPE of 8, you're probably starting to slow down a bit. Your speed is not as powerful under the barbell or the dumbbell, whatever you're using. So you're starting to slow down, but you've got 2 reps left in the tank. So you are stopping when you think you have 2 reps left to give. Next is 7. So at an RPE of 7, you're feeling the burn a bit, but you're still feeling pretty strong. At the end of the set, you have 3 reps left in the tank. 7 out of 10, 3 reps left in the tank. Starting to see the pattern a little bit. So number 6 is not a total cakewalk, not too challenging either. You're leaving 4 reps left in the tank. RPE 5 and under. So RPE 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is warm-up weight. This is not a weight that you want to be using for your working sets. An RPE of 5 or under, use it for warm-up, use it to get those muscles ready to go for those heavier RPEs. Sounds simple, right? All right, now let's go through an example to help make this even more clear. Let's say that your trainer tells you to do 3 sets of 8 reps at an RPE of 8 on barbell bench press. You're going to start with some warm-up sets, of course, and as you go through these warm-up sets, you're going to build in weight until you find your RPE of 8 for 8 reps. So we're going to start light. We're going to start with 75 pounds. You're going to crank out 8 reps. And let's say at the end of that set, you feel like you have 5 reps left in the tank. That means we're going to call it an RPE of 5. We're going to add some weight. Let's say we jump up to 95 pounds. You're going to crank out 8 more reps. When you get done with that set, you feel like you had 3 reps left in the tank. We're going to call that an RPE of 7. All right, so you're at a 7. You need to be at an 8. You need to go a little bit higher. So you're going to add 10 more pounds. We're going to go up to 105. Crank out 8 reps. When you're done with that set, you were slowing down a little bit. You're feeling the burn a little bit. You feel like you have 2 reps left in the tank at the end of that set. Now you have found your weight for RPE of 8. You've completed 1 set. You've got 2 more to go. So you're going to do 3 sets of 8 at an RPE of 8. So you started light. You worked your way up until you found the weight that felt like an RPE of 8, that felt like you had 2 reps left in the tank, that you were 2 reps shy of your maximal effort. Okay, so it might be starting to make a little bit more sense, but now you might be asking the question, okay, well that's great, but how do I know when I am 1 rep shy of failure or 2 reps shy of failure? How do I know? How do I know without guessing? Well, this is my favorite part. This is where AMRAPs come in, or where I at least like to use AMRAPs. AMRAP stands for as many reps as possible. So for an AMRAP, you are doing whatever exercise you're assigned to failure. You are doing as many reps as possible until you physically cannot perform anymore, or you physically cannot perform anymore with good form. So let's go through an example of how an AMRAP might work. And let me add, this is a lesson for another day, but when you're performing these AMRAPs, I want you to know that your mind is going to tell you to give up before your body will. So as you go through this is a mental challenge, but you have to keep pushing to truly know what your limits are. All right, so here is a drill that you can use in your own training to determine how far away you truly are from failure. So first you're going to pick an exercise. For example, let's say we're doing squats at 65 pounds. So first you pick your exercise, you pick your weight, 65 pounds. You are going to do squats until you feel like you're at an RPE of 8, until you feel like you are just 2 reps shy of failure. All right, you're going to complete your set to RPE of 8, then you are going to rest. You're going to take adequate rest, make sure your muscles are ready to go. When you've rested, you're going to do an AMRAP. So an AMRAP, again, as many reps as possible. So with the same weight, with the same 65 pounds, you are now completing an AMRAP and you are going until you physically cannot perform 1 more rep or you cannot complete it with good form. All right, so let's put this into perspective. Let's say you complete 1 set of 10 squats with 65 pounds and you stop when you feel like you are 2 reps shy of failure or at an RPE of 8. This probably felt challenging to you. You probably really did think that you were at an 8. After appropriate rest, you complete your AMRAP also with 65 pounds. Let's say you complete 20 reps before hitting failure. That is a 10 rep difference, which means you were way further away from failure than you thought you were. So next time you will adjust appropriately. If you're prescribed the same amount of reps, you're going to bump that weight up to make it more challenging, make it closer to failure. So this is beneficial because 1, it shows you that you are physically capable of more than your mind will tell you, but that's a lesson for another day. Won't get on that rant right now. But it is also going to teach you what failure or getting close to failure actually feels like. You might feel like a rep or a set is very challenging, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's close to failure. So now the more you practice it, the more you implement it in your training, the more familiar you're going to get with what failure feels like. And so now when you're pushed to an RPE of 7 or 8 or 9, you will know when you are actually getting close to that point because you've practiced it. Because you've gone to failure before and you've practiced it many times, you will now know for sure without a doubt when you're getting close to that point. Why RPE? Why do we use RPE compared to other methods? Well, one of the most common methods that are used is the percentage method. So in the percentage method, you will take your 1 rep max and you might be prescribed a certain percentage of your 1 rep max. So your program might say complete 10 squats at 60% of your 1 rep max. Okay? There are a couple of really big problems with this. First of all, in order for you to perform at a percentage of your 1 rep maximum, you have to know your 1 rep max for every single exercise. And this might be easy to do for your main lifts, like your deadlifts, your bench press, your overhead press, and your squats, but what about your accessory work? Are you testing your 1 rep max for tricep extensions or for hammer curls or for leg extensions or hamstring curls? Probably not. You may know some people who are testing their 1 rep max for that, but I have not met those people yet. So it makes it difficult to apply the percentage rule to your accessory work, and it is very important that you are still pushing yourself in your accessory work as well. RPE applies to any lift, any exercise that you do. It applies to everything, whereas the percentage rule is a little bit tougher to apply to all areas of your training. The second one, and in my opinion, a more important one, is that the percentage method and other methods do not take into account the environmental factors that can drastically affect your strength. So this method, the percentage method, can work great if your energy, your recovery, your sleep, your nutrition, your stress, your hydration, your caffeine intake, just to name a few, are all perfectly dialed in every single time you lift, which, spoiler alert, they're not. Your life changes, stress changes, nutrition changes, hydration changes, everything changes. It's never the same. So RPE is able to take that into account. So let's say you come into the gym one day, you're super hyped up, you're ready to hit a 1 rep personal record. All right, so you are on it, you've had a great meal beforehand, you've had great sleep, you're hydrated, and you hit a personal record on your back squat of 250 pounds. And then 2 weeks later you come in, and let's say you've had a weekend where you're traveling for work, you're eating fast food, you slept in a hotel, the bed was hard and you couldn't get a lot of sleep, and so you're struggling. And you come in and you're prescribed let's say 60% of your 1 rep max. Well, that day, your 60% may feel like 90% because your body is not well prepared. The environmental factors are affecting your strength. Vice versa, let's flip that around. Let's say you come in after your weekend of travel, no sleep, bad nutrition, and you hit a 1 rep max. And then 2 weeks later, you've slept great, you've ate well, you're hydrated, you're not stressed, and you come in and you're told to hit 80% of your 1 rep max. Well, that day, compared to the day that you hit your 1 rep max, your 80% could feel like 60%. It could feel a whole lot easier when you're well rested than when you weren't. So it does not take into account the environmental factors that greatly affect your strength. And I've seen that in training myself. I've had clients come in and they tell me, man, I really didn't sleep well last night. And they get on the bench press and they're struggling. And I can see the difference that something like sleep can make. And so on those days, instead of pushing for 70%, I can say, all right, if today this feels like an RPE of 8 for you, we're going to take it back a little bit. We're going to take some rest. We're going to let your body recover. All right, and lastly, I want to go over just a few mistakes that people might make with RPE. So first, guessing wildly, calling it an RPE of 8 when it was really maybe an RPE of 5. And again, this is where the AMRAPs are going to come in, so you truly know how close you are to failure. So don't just call everything an 8 just because it kind of felt hard that day. Test it, practice it, know what your limits are, know what it feels like when you're getting close to your limit, so you truly can train around that sweet spot of RPE 7, 8, 9. Second is not implementing it into your accessories, ignoring it on your accessories. This is important too. Your main lifts are not the only things that are going to give you gains. Those accessory exercises are extremely important to get you maximum results and get you the muscle growth that you might be wanting or the fat burn that you might be wanting. So take this into your accessory exercises as well. All right, lastly, letting ego override RPE. So I know it is tempting if you were hitting 195 last week and then this week you feel kind of and you might be only hitting 175. In those instances, take some time to let your body recover. A day of recovery is going to go much further in the long run than pushing your body when it is exhausted. So RPE also teaches you to train based on how you feel, not how you wish you feel. So on those days, take some time to rest. Rate of perceived exertion, RPE. I hope this was helpful. I hope you now have a more in-depth understanding of what RPE is, how it works, how you can implement it and practice it in your own training, and why you should implement it in your training. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you back next week on the YouTube.